we went midway in the 7th chapter, and I think we have covered up till the 18th verse. I'll just quickly ask a couple of questions before we proceed. We had seen in the 12th verse that Sri Krishna has named the 3 states of material existence. So if I can refer to the 12th verse, we'll be able to answer this. What are the 3 states of material existence?
Goodness, passion, ignorance.
Exactly. So all these 3, they form the lower energy of the Supreme Being, Sri Krishna. Whereas there is a higher energy, which is the spiritual energy he is talking about. He says that all the creatures, or you can say the most of the creatures, they know the lower energy of the Lord. However, they get deluded by Maya and are unable to understand the higher energy of the Supreme Being Sri Krishna. Then let us go to the 16th verse, where he says that there are 4 kinds of pious people who engage in my devotion. So, what are the 4 kinds? You can see it in the 16th verse.
The distressed, seekers of knowledge, the seekers of worldly possessions, and those situated in knowledge.
Exactly. So, in Gita, I just repeated for you all, the distressed are called the Artha. Then, the seekers of knowledge are called Jignasu. The seekers of worldly possessions, Artharthi, they're called as Artharthi. And those who are situated in knowledge are called Jnani. So, I had mentioned earlier also, there's a difference between seekers of knowledge and those who are situated in knowledge. Seekers are the ones who have the yearning for knowledge. Situated in knowledge are the ones who have already attained a fair amount of knowledge. So these are the 4 types of devotees who engage in devotion of Sri Krishna. He also said that among these 4 types, who is dear to him? Who is dear to Sri Krishna and why?
Those situated in knowledge are the dearest.
Yes, can you please mention the reason? You can go to the 17th verse. It's there.
They're exclusively devoted to me.
Sunny, can you please come again?
Like they're like exclusively devoted to only me.
Yes, yes. So they're exclusively devoted unto me. That is why they are dear to me, says Sri Krishna. And their devotion is very firm. They are steadfastly doing it. And that is another reason why Sri Krishna says that they are very dear to me. In fact, going on to the 18th verse, now Krishna says that since I am their goal, for those devotees, I am the goal of their life. Therefore, I consider as my very self. Sri Krishna too considers those devotees as his own self. Those devotees also consider Sri Krishna as their supreme goal. So this is how Sri Krishna and those devotees are engaged with each other. So as you all said, that those who are situated in knowledge are very dear to Sri Krishna. With this, we can proceed to the 19th verse now. So I'll quickly share a few verses and we can proceed with that. I think we stopped at 18, am I correct? Yeah. Yes. You can see 19th and 20th verse. I'll also go further couple of verses. Now, I will go to the 19th verse. Shri Krishna is mentioning various facts in the 7th chapter. As we proceed to every verse, there's something new which he brings in. In the 19th verse, now he says that after many births of spiritual practice, so first of all, there is not a single birth in which we succeed and we get liberated. It takes many births of spiritual practice. And he says that after many births of spiritual practice, one who is endowed with knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be all that is. Such a great soul is indeed very rare. So, Shri Krishna is now saying that why have I said that those situated in knowledge are dear to me? Because these souls, they have already taken many spiritual births. And in this birth, when they are finally situated in knowledge, they surrender unto me. Dear friends, surrendering unto Sri Krishna is not very easy or straightforward. Today we can surrender because we have the illumination of Tatham knowledge. We also have now the Gita verses to support our thinking. However, for those who have not even entered into Tatham knowledge, those who do not even have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, for them, surrender is not easy. For us, we are born in Pranami families. We have seen that culture. Therefore, it has actually been deeply ingrained in us. But for the other souls, such a devotion, such a surrender is not easy. So, although we do not remember, we have taken so many births earlier, and past so many births were also spiritual births. Only then in this birth, we are able to surrender ourselves to Sri Krishna. So it takes many births for the surrender to actually take place. And further, Sri Krishna also says, such a devotee will know me as everything in the world. Today, by Bhagavad Gita, by Tartam knowledge, we have come to know that it is nothing but Sri Krishna who has created the entire universe. And in every particle, even a speck of dust, is nothing but his own power. But we could also define it as the lower power. So, all said and done, now we know that everything and everywhere is Sri Krishna alone. Therefore, our devotion to Sri Krishna is steadfast and exclusive. So, Krishna is saying such devotees are very rare who have so much of knowledge, who have surrendered unto me, who exclusively are devoted unto me. And that soul reaches a very high level of consciousness, because of which that soul is also a great soul and is very dear to me, says Sri Krishna. So, in a very important verse, because we come to know that is not a single spiritual birth which has caused this surrender towards Sri Krishna, but we have already spent several spiritual births. Now, I give you all the liberty. If you want to ask any questions, please ask me. But until then, I will keep proceeding. I move on to the 20th verse. Those whose knowledge has been carried away by material desires surrender to celestial gods. Now, I think at least Sandy and Pranay, we have done a little bit of, we may just say, an introductory Virat when I think we were visiting a place, I don't remember, in Gujarat. So I just want to tell you that there are various levels of consciousness in this world, and because of which there are many celestial gods. As we know, those celestial gods have got powers delegated by Krishna to them. Those powers are delegated to perform certain duties. For example, celestial gods, they are delegated the duty of showering rains on earth. Someone may be delegated the duty to provide food to everyone. Someone, like sun, is given the responsibility to illumine the entire mortal world. So, in this way, there are 33 types of celestial gods who are given various kinds of duties and responsibilities to manage and administer the world. Along with their duties and responsibilities, but naturally, they're also given the powers. Who has given those powers? Again, it is the Supreme Being who has given his own powers to them in order to smoothly run the universe such that there is no major problem. Now, in this manner, what do we understand? The celestial gods, those who reside in paradise or in the heavens, they too have their powers, but their power is just a fraction of the power of Sri Krishna himself. Is it clear with you all? Is this part this much clear with you all? So, because of this, the celestial gods are known to people, they are worshipped by people. Now, those devotees who do not have the knowledge of Sri Krishna will worship the celestial gods, because worshipping the celestial gods is easier than worshipping Sri Krishna. And the celestial gods also give boons. They also fulfill wishes. And the people with limited intellects find it really easy to be devoted unto them, to do small little practices to please them. And of course, they get the boons. So it is quite easy for the people to worship the celestial gods. However, now, if you look at this verse, Sri Krishna says that some of the devotees may have knowledge, however, their knowledge is carried away by material desires. For instance, someone might just go and pray to the celestial gods that I do not have a good job. I'm not able to get married. I'm not able to have children. So can you please fulfill these wishes? And as they desire, their desires are fulfilled by them because they have the limited powers within the world. The celestial gods cannot give eternal liberation. All they can give is they can fulfill the desires of the devotees. So now the devotees who get carried away by material desires, they always think that it is easier to go to celestial gods and get their desires fulfilled by them. Krishna says that such devotees will surrender to the celestial gods. They won't surrender to the Supreme Being Shri Krishna. Because Sri Krishna is the one who gives eternal liberation to them out of their devotion. But those who do not seek for eternal liberation, who just seek to fulfill their material desires, they will be devoted to the celestial gods. Further, Sri Krishna says, following their own nature, they worship the devtas. So, the devotees want to worship the devtas, practice the rituals by which they can propitiate those celestial personalities. Now, this is one form of devotion. But now let me just put forth a question to you. Will this form of devotion give them eternal liberation in Shri Krishna's abode or Parandham? Of course not. The reason is that they're not authorized to give the eternal liberation. At the most, they can fulfill the material desires. That is what attracts the devotees to go unto them. Now, Shri Krishna has mentioned in the 21st verse, whatever celestial form a devotee seeks to worship with faith, I steady the faith of such a devotee in that form. For example, if someone is very steadfastly devoted to, let us say, Shivji, Ganeshji, or to Lord Indra, any one of them, Sri Krishna will make their devotion steadfast in the form of that celestial God. Why does he do that? Because the devotee is following a stepwise progress pattern. He's taking one step, then he is going to take another. Whereas for those who are worshipping Sri Krishna exclusively, they are straight away going to Sri Krishna. Now, let me discuss one small little thing here from our Vani, which makes this concept clear. Sri Pramnaji has mentioned that there are two paths of devotion. One path is that of an ant. He calls it Piplika Marga. Forget the name, I'm just trying to give you what it means. This path is that of an ant. This kind of devotion in which the ant, if you see, it'll just keep moving and moving and moving. It can walk miles. and it will cover a great distance, but she is walking. Now take example of a bird. The bird will fly from the sky and reach the destination. Who is faster? Of course, the bird. The bird will directly go to the destination, will avoid the interim destinations, but an ant will take a stoppage everywhere and finally reach the destination. So, the path which the ant adopts is called piplika, and the bird's way of reaching the destination is called the dhok marga in Vani. The faster one is, of course, of the bird. Similarly, now I'll take the comparison of this in our uh, present discussion. Those devotees who worship the celestial gods, they will spend so many births in worshipping the celestial gods, propitiating them. And in every birth, they're going to move little by little. Whereas those who are exclusively devoted to Sri Krishna, they will not take the interim destinations of the celestial gods, because the devotee who's exclusively devoted to Sri Krishna knows the powers in the celestial gods are after all given by Krishna himself. Why not worship directly Sri Krishna? Of course, we are not trying to humiliate, we're not trying to ignore these celestial gods. We respect them that they are doing a certain part of their duty. But when it comes to devotion, we are exclusively devoted to Sri Krishna. In this manner, that devotee will take the path of a bird and not of an ant. So Sri Brahmaji has mentioned this in Rani. Sri Krishna is mentioning this in Gita, where he says that if somebody is worshipping, for example, say Lord Ram or Lord Hanuman, I make him steady in that worship. Why? Because he will have to take many births to propitiate Hanuman. Thereafter, after a few births, now his inner instinct will tell him that I will now propitiate Sri Ram, who is the Lord of Hanumanji. Now he begins to worship Sri Ram for so many births. He will propitiate Sri Ram. In this manner, like a ladder, such a devotee will take stepwise progress pattern, and you can imagine the number of births he'll have to take in this way to propitiate every celestial god and move on to the next one. So finally he will reach Sri Krishna. However, the one who understands that Sri Krishna is the supreme being, they will straight away go and start propitiating Sri Krishna. They'll worship him exclusively. They will look for eternal liberation. So, dear friends, Krishna makes them steadfast in a certain celestial form so that in the next few births, he will be able to propitiate that celestial form. Then he will proceed to another celestial form, because the devotee himself has adopted that path. Had he taken the path of a bird, then it would have been really easy for him. But again, what is the reason they are not able to directly take the path like a bird? Sri Krishna is going to discuss the reason for this in I think, a couple of ensuing shlokas from now. So I will not go in detail with that presently. I'll go as per our verses. Okay. Anyone has any doubts up till here, please let me know. Now we proceed to the 22nd verse. Endowed with faith, the devotee worships a particular celestial god and obtains the objects of desire. But in reality, just look at this. In reality, Krishna says, I alone arrange for these benefits. So even when someone goes to Lord Ganesh ji or to Lord Shiv ji or Ram ji or anyone, and he expresses his desires to be fulfilled in front of them. Even when those celestial gods will fulfill those desires, who has actually arranged to fulfill the desire is none other than Sri Krishna, because the celestial gods have fractional powers of Sri Krishna only. Therefore, those devotees who get their desires fulfilled from them are, in a way, getting the benefits from Krishna only. However, they do not know about it, they do not understand it. Krishna says, he claims that I alone arrange these benefits for the devotees. So, in the next verse, the 23rd one, but the fruit gained by these people of little understanding is perishable. So, dear friends, although those who worship the celestial gods, they get their desires fulfilled and they propitiate those celestial gods, they please them, with which they get some fruits, but those fruits are of a limited nature, perishable. They are not the eternal liberation. I think I have discussed this example earlier, but I just want to give it for the sake of connection. That in a very big prison where there are so many prisoners, on the Independence Day, just as we have in India, it is on the 15th of August. Let us imagine, or let us take this example where the jailer comes to the prisoners and asks them, what are your desires which you want to be fulfilled? On this Independence Day, I have the liberty to fulfill your desires. So, one after the other prisoners were asked. One prisoner complained about having rats in the cell and that should be cured. One of them said that there are so many mosquitoes, please solve this problem. All of them started expressing their desires, but all those desires were to make that prison or that cell a better place to be in. There was one prisoner who did not ask for anything. The jailer went to that prisoner and asked him, you did not put forth your desire. He says, so if it is possible for you and you have the liberty today, please free me from this prison. That is my desire. So it is his wisdom to ask freedom from the prison, whereas the other prisoners, they were just asking for to get rid of some problems like that of mosquitoes and rats and so on. So he made a wise decision that today I'm given the liberty to ask for something. What will I ask? Please let me free from this prison itself. In the same manner, for all the creatures in this world, they may ask for a few desires like getting a job or getting a good house or getting some luxuries in life. But a true devotee, he will think that why should I ask for these desires? Rather, I should utilize this birth to actually get out or exit from the cycle of birth and death. He will try to exit the cycle of birth and death. That is how he utilizes this birth. So, I'm sorry, Sri Krishna says that although those prisoners who asked for the small little changes in the prison, their desires were fulfilled by the jailer, but the desires as well as the fruits were perishable and they were of limited nature. So Sri Krishna says, in the same manner, those devotees who want their desires, their material wants or desires to be fulfilled, they are just asking for limited objects of this world. Those who worship the celestial gods go to the celestial abodes. Now, isn't this very clear that your entire life you spend in propitiating and pleasing the celestial gods, you worship them, where will you reach? It is but obvious that you reach the celestial abodes. But Sri Krishna says that my devotees will come unto me because they are worshipping me. They are steadfastly and exclusively devoted unto me. Therefore, they will come unto me. But those who worship the celestial gods, they will reach the celestial abodes. So, is it clear so far to all of you? Okay. So, we'll just have a quick question answer round and then let's see how much of time we have. But so far, I want to make sure that you all have understood this properly. So, I'll put forth a few questions. Okay. Please tell me, does it, I'm going to the 19th verse. Does it take a single birth to a single, I'm so sorry. My question is, does it take a single spiritual birth to be devoted unto Sri Krishna, or will it take more than that?
It's after many births of
Yes,
spiritual practice.
exactly. And also, please note, it's not only births, spiritual births. The term is very clear, spiritual births. So, further, Sri Krishna says, is that soul who is situated in knowledge and surrendered unto me, is such a soul easily available or is it rare?
It's rare.
It's really rare. And such a soul is great because it has reached a very high level of consciousness. In the 20th verse, mm, those who get carried away by material desires, to whom will they surrender?
To the celestial gods.
Yes, the celestial gods. So, those who worship the celestial gods, where will they reach? I've straight away jumped to the 23rd verse.
To the celestial abodes.
Exactly. So, those who worship the celestial gods will reach the celestial abodes. Uh, I had to do that because there was a connection. So, I did it. Those who are devoted to the celestial gods, how will they please the celestial gods? I'm referring to the 20th verse.
Yeah.
Um, they worship the devtas,
They
practicing.
worship the deity. Yes. And how do they worship the devtas? If you see, it's mentioned that they practice rituals. For every devta, every celestial gods, there is a way to please him. So they will have to practice those uh, rituals which are meant to propitiate or please those celestial gods. Now, in the 21st verse, Sri Krishna says that if a devotee is devoted unto some celestial god, will Sri Krishna make him steady in that form or will he not?
He will steady in that form.
He will steady him in that form. Because, as we discussed, there are two ways in Vani. There are two kinds of devotional paths. Can you please at least give the names of those? Or you may just indicate what creature we named in the example. The one which is taking the aerial route or the land.
Is it the ant and bird?
Yes, it is the ant. The ant, the ant is taking the pitlika marg, the bird is taking the aerial route, it is called dhok marg in Vani. Now, which one is more faster?
The bird is
Of
fast.
course, the bird is faster. Right? So, if you take the comparison of this, the bird is faster and it will reach its destination very quickly. However, to fly like a bird is not easy because more and most of them will take the path like that of an ant because they will go to one celestial god, take so many births in propitiating them, then they go on to the second one. This is the system that they follow. So, now Shri Krishna says in the 22nd verse that those who worship the celestial gods and get their desires fulfilled from them, who is the one to actually give the fruits of their devotion or worship?
Shri Krishna.
It is Shri Krishna. However, since it is the celestial God through whom Krishna is giving, the devotee does not understand and he thinks it is the celestial God who has actually fulfilled his wish. And the 23rd verse, although those who worship celestial gods and get fruits from them, are the fruits limited and perishable or do they get eternal fruit?
Fruits of the celestial gods are perishable.
Yes, absolutely, they're perishable. The reason being, they have just asked for the material desires to be fulfilled. So, although they get it, it is not a one time thing that they will get from the celestial gods. For every other thing, every other day, they will go to the celestial gods and keep asking for material desires. I mean, that is the form of devotion which the ordinary people will follow. But you all can understand that we are devoted exclusively to Sri Krishna when we do Seva Puja, when we do Mahar Sagar, and we read our Vani, listen to Satsang. What are we doing? We are actually trying to come out of this world of material existence. And our ultimate goal is to reach Sri Krishna's abode, his Param Dham. So, with this in mind, we are aiming to get the everlasting goal, the everlasting destination, whereas the others are just looking to fulfill the material desires. So, which devotion is more deeper when you look to fulfill only material desires or when you want to get the eternal liberation.
The eternal liberation is more.
Exactly, exactly. So, Bhagavad Gita is making this very clear. What are the different types of devotions? What are the fruits? Who gives the fruits? And how do we actually take so many spiritual births to reach unto Sri Krishna? So it is obviously really very painful. It is a part of suffering to take so many births. Right? So we look to exit this cycle of birth and death by exclusively being devoted to Sri Krishna. So I think we have done quite a few verses today. And here, do you wish to stop or do you want to do a couple of more verses? Um, Miss Sanya Pranay, you can tell me if you wish to do a couple of more or do we stop here?
We can stop here.
Okay. So let's say our final prayers for today.